Erik has managed to maintain a 31-year manual therapy practice. He has published 2 books, 13 DVDs, 2 best-selling home study courses, and is a regular contributor to several national and international bodywork magazines. In 2007, Erik was inducted into the Massage Therapy Hall of Fame. Mr. Dalton resides in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and San Jose, Costa Rica, with his wife Terry and 2 lazy dogs. He hopes his daughter, who completes her pediatric internal medicine residence in a couple of months, will succeed in bucking the medical model and contribute to the wonderful world of pain management and holistic healing. Welcome tonight, Erik.
Hi, thanks, Ryan.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah. So it's okay.
It's my first sidecast.
Yeah.
We're looking into this little camera.
Yeah.
You can't see anything but a little dot.
Yeah. So in your bio, you said your daughter's getting ready to join the medical establishment. And your thoughts on the progress of the merging of alternative and traditional medicines. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, I'm glad that she's finally going to get a job and make some money. Medical school gets expensive. No, actually, she put herself through medical school. She put herself through medical school, and I'm proud of her, and I'm mostly proud of my new grandbaby, 4 months old. So I'm called Pappy now. Of course, she's still just slobbering and mumbling, and my wife says I'm getting more like that as I get older, more like a baby. And she's right.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the merging of CAM, complementary alternative medicine. What I've noticed is from the first fascial congress in 2007 at Harvard, those of you who were there, it was a wonderful, unbelievable, spectacular event to see clinicians and researchers together for the first time like that. But there was still a separation. The two groups really did not feel warm and cozy toward one another, and the presentations were sort of clinical, particularly the first day. As the time has gone by, the 7th International Congress on Low Back and Pelvic Pain last November in LA, the difference has been immense. I mean, it was, I don't know how big that Congress was in LA at the Plaza. It was fantastic, couple thousand people, I'd say. Maybe not that many, I don't know. But the rubbing together, the feeling of finally getting to know each other over the 7 congresses was really spellbinding to me. And the new research that's been done on fascia and with the new technology that's out there is just really bringing the scientific world and the manual therapy and movement worlds all together. And I see that that's going to really culminate. It's going to be a big deal in Vancouver now, coming up next March. Be there or be square. March in Vancouver for the Fascial Congress there. I'll probably have a booth there and have some of my teachers working on people. So come on up and say howdy.
Yep.
Hey, what else?
Yeah. And do you see the medical community accepting more massage and body work and those different modalities more in the near future?
Yeah, I do. I really do. Yeah, sure. Here's the deal. Movement therapy has really become big, particularly functional movement therapy. Gray Cook, Michael Boyles, Craig Levinson, Weingroff, dozen others, really fantastic guys. Stuart McGill are really bringing that to the forefront. And that is, kind of an XY generation thing. But the people where the money still is the baby boomers. That's where we got to keep our focus. And the baby boomers, some of them can go out and do functional movement training fine, and some of them are going to have pain doing the functional movement screen, and they're going to be having to be sent to us. We need to learn how to work with functional movement therapists hand in hand. If you're not doing it in the same, if you have an integrated practice, that's even better. But that's what that's what I'm focusing on is in my own practice is working with movement therapists that are good, that know the new functional stuff, and I see that as the future. But I tell you what, people need to keep in mind the X and Y generation and even the Z generation that will have clients come in with those kind of problems, the sports people who are having athletic problems and all that. But the meat and the money is still in the baby boom population.
Yes, I can definitely see that. My parents are in their early 60s, and they're already preparing for it. So,
that's right.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a great market. It's a great market. I love my elderly people too. Particularly, I love the people that are in their 80s and 90s. You know, at first I thought they were so frail, and I was worried about you know, very, very careful and cautious when working on them. And then you realize after a few years, they didn't get to be 90 years old by accident. They got good genetics. You know, they were raised on good food. They've got good bones, and they're tough, and they love the work. So I love geriatric. I own one.
And I recently saw a picture of you in your early days as a musician. So is that true?
Is that true?
Yeah.
Is that true? Yeah. Yeah. That's funny on Facebook. Some of my friends posted some of our old rock and roll things. We were a college fraternity band, started our summer before our junior year of high school, and became #1 college band in the country, and ended up in summers in Detroit, Michigan, at playing with at a club with called the Rooster Tail, where Motown came in on Monday nights. So we got to be to back up a lot of the old Motown people, Four Tops and those people, and ended up with a record contract, being the first white group on Black Label, and going out to California after I graduated University of Oklahoma. I was headed to California to graduate school anyway, and ended up with a record contract and spent 17 years in the music business and going to school out there. And just a real quick story on what got me into this. Into my mother used to say, you know, Eric, I ain't happy if his hands aren't busy, and so drumming was a natural progression for me, you know, into body work. But I never thought of touching people other than my girlfriends. I really wasn't that interested in, you know, in touching bodies. Didn't feel like I was a kinesthetic type person. But I had the opportunity. Our band was playing at Fillmore West, opening for Janis Joplin, which we'd done a few times before, and I'd watched her drummer, Dave Getz, and he was playing so much better. And so after the gig, I said, "Man, what happened? You know, how come you're better?" And he goes, "I got Ralphed." I go, "You got Ralphed?" He goes, "Yeah, this old woman called Ida Ralph. She worked me over and made me bring my drums over and set my drums up higher so my posture was better. And yeah, it's really helped." So a week later, we were playing at Merv Griffith's old club in the Carmel Valley Inn, and I was at the health food store down by Big Sur, walking away with my groceries, and saw Ida Rolf, Fritz Perls. And my background was psychology. I loved Gestalt psychology. So that was Monday night, our day off, and I went in and saw him. And that's the first time, 1972, I had ever witnessed body work with Ida Rolf. And what an unbelievable thing. I went to see Fritz Perls mainly, but I was just mesmerized by this woman. And, of course, I didn't get into body work that time, but I started looking for a Rolfer as soon as I got back to L.A. Never did find anybody until about 1977. And that got me going, and I've had a passion for this work ever since. It's the greatest profession by far of any profession, I think, out there, helping people like this with your hands.
Did you ever train with Ida Rolf then?
What about her?
Did you ever train with her?
No, never trained with her. She died in '79, colon rectal cancer, and I was just glad to be able to watch her work, though. And I've edited a lot of the old films that she did. She had an advanced class, 2 weeks of filming, and I got to help edit those while I was going to the Rolf Institute in '82. And it was, amazing woman. A lot of the stuff that's going on right now was birthed through her work, and of course she got a lot of her stuff through the old Nemo, all those collection of old cronies back there that back in her days in the 50s. She started in 1929 actually doing body work, but she picked a lot of stuff up from osteopaths, and that's kind of my deal too. I love the osteopathic model. I like working on all tissues of the body, not just not just muscles, not just fascia. I like working on all the mesodermal tissue, bones, ligaments, all of it.
Okay. And then what are some of your other influences in the bodywork business?
Well, when I saw Janet Travell in '89 and in Houston, Texas, and she was getting up there, but she was pretty good, pretty amazing. She got up and did some body work on a guy, did an old miracle roll thing that was in her original textbook. They took it out, but right as you opened it up, it had a picture, a diagram of her father doing the old chiropractic miracle roll. She said he used to do this adjustment on all these people, but anyway, saw her, and I wouldn't consider an influence because I didn't know her, never met her, didn't know much about her. But then I broke my neck in an unfortunate clumsy judo fall, and I got interested in bones and ended physical therapy school. Didn't like physical therapy school, but they allowed me to go to Michigan State College of Osteopathic Medicine and take their postgraduate continuing education classes. So from 1992 for 10 years. I got to go study with Philip Greenman, the Principles of Manual Medicine, the great Philip Greenman, and they offer 20 courses up there of all the hands-on stuff that the osteopaths have done for the last 100 years. And so I took all those courses over and over again because I'm a slow learner. It takes me a long time, but once I get it, I get it. But I had to take them over and over, and some of the stuff I still flies over my head. But that was a great opportunity. I got to meet Vladimir Yonda. He came through there, and so I tagged along to some Vladimir Yonda things, and that's when I introduced that upper and lower cross syndrome in 1998, my first home study course with Vladimir's work in it. And it's, of course, now very, very popular worldwide, and he's legendary, as we know. And now Serge Grakovetsky, my last set of DVDs were dedicated to Dr. Serge Grakovetsky, the spinal engine guy. Amazing man, nuclear physicist from Concordia University in Montreal, tenured professor, funny guy, crazy man.
Okay.
But
kind of like you then, right?
I like me.
Yeah.
Funnier than me.
Yeah. Is that possible?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Laughs like you, though. Man.
Yeah.
The same laugh.
Yeah. Hey, it's not like Linda Solon-Wolf's though.
Oh, no, nothing's like Linda Solon-Wolf, though.
No.
You can hear it from a block away. It's like a siren.
Yep.
You could attempt it.
Yep.
She pulls it off, though.
Yep. So why did you decide to name your technique the myoskeletal alignment?
Good question. I started out teaching in my garage in 1995, and it was called Dalton Attachment Technique because I was really, I really thought that most of where the fascia fight for attachments along the bony margins was really where all the good stuff was. And then as I studied more osteopathic stuff, I realized a lot of it was more into the neurology of it. I got really hooked on the neurology of the system and motor control systems, and so I wanted to integrate more of that. So myo, it stands for myofascia, and then skeletal, because of the bony work that I've been doing. I wanted to figure out a way to, when you're doing deep tissue work, you affect the bony structures. There's no way to do deep tissue work and not affect the bony structures. So you should know what you're doing. You should know spinal biomechanics, laws of spinal motion, certain things like that, or you can get people in trouble. When you're working on scoliosis, you should be able to understand which way the tissues, the fascia, the muscles, and should go, or you really are going to. A lot of times you do people disservice and you make them worse. And there's certain contraindications, like putting people on their stomach when they have a spondylolisthesis, particularly an active one that's cracking, come in with bilateral pain down both legs, and they've got excessive lumbar lordosis. Never put them on their stomach. Oh. Some people do. Some people go ahead and put a pillow under them. I don't do that. But there's just a lot of stuff that I thought was important that massage therapists needed to integrate into their practice. Bones, as Tom Myers says in an article he wrote about me in Massage Magazine in the year 2000, that bones are mesodermal tissue. All of them are soft tissues in the body, and we need to be able to address them all, at least to affect them all, and we need to know the mechanics of them. So that's basically what I teach. Deep tissue work, mobilizing joints through muscle manipulation. We're not going in and twisting people and doing anything like that, but we are getting down to the deepest layer, and that deepest layer in this case is the ligamentous bed, the spinal joint capsules, and all that stuff in the lamina groove.
Okay.
So that's how myoskeletal techniques came about.
Okay. And then there's a little echo. Sorry. And then with the myoskeletal alignment technique, do you have many instructors underneath you then?
Right now, I have a guy named Paul Kelly from Knoxville, Tennessee. He was going to call in here in a minute, and he just called me to say that they have a tornado coming through, so they're in their basement. And so he says, "But I'm going to take my laptop down and call in." And I go, "Don't call in, even if it blows you away. I don't want the static from the air. Don't stop me." Like Pulp Fiction. Don't bring him here.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, Paul's a fantastic teacher. He's teaching in Jacksonville, Florida, coming up, in just a few weeks. He's extremely, really talented, and he does functional movement training, obviously, and he's been with me for over a decade. And then I have two other teachers in training, and just a bunch of really great teaching assistants, Nick Prest and Danny Christie, and my Kim Miller, who's been with me forever, that has been with me since 1995, and a host of other teaching assistants that I couldn't operate without, plus my gal that does all the stuff for me sitting over here to my left, Barbara Cardokas, who's helps me with all the day-to-day stuff. We work together all the time. So I've got a great staff, my best staff I've ever had right now.
And are you trying to retire then?
Am I trying to retire?
Yeah.
Yes. Just as you get it together, you work so hard for all these years, and just as you start to get it together, then you go, isn't it time to slow down? And you go, well, how do you slow down? So how I slowed down is by building a house in Costa Rica. When I fell in love with Costa Rica, I built a house there, and then I felt like, that will get me. I have obsessive compulsive disorder, and so if I obsess on living off the land and doing what I really love, growing my own food, and swimming in my new swimming pool with a Baju Jet exerciser in there, and doing those kinds of things and taking care of myself. That's how I want to live. But I've got high-speed internet there, so I'm going to be on there. I'm still going to be writing, and I'm still going to be chatting with all you people on Facebook and Twitter and everything else. But I'm not going to be teaching probably next year. This is probably my last year of teaching. I have 3 USA workshops. I have, Costa Rica first, and that's the end of April, beginning of May. That's an unbelievable experience. If you haven't been to Costa Rica with me, you got to do that. This will be our 9th year. And it's a certification workshop, so people can come. They'll come away with a diploma from that workshop, and it's inexpensive and just an unbelievable adventure with all of the things that we have available over there. And so that's why it's always packed over there. And then I have West Palm Beach, which we teach every year, and it's always a wonderful workshop in June. We have people from all over the world come to that. August, Chicago. Never been to Chicago. Been trying to get there. Been forever, and I'm so glad to be there. I mean, I've played music in Chicago a lot, obviously, but never taught there. So I'm excited about that. And then back to Dallas, Texas, and September, and then in November we're having a Thanksgiving big bash, Thanksgiving Costa Rica workshop, another week-long retreat, and that's all I'm doing this year. 14 workshops last year, down to 4 USA workshops this year.
Are you planning to continue with the Costa Rica workshops then?
I'm going to continue with them because we have a great resort over there, Pura Vida Resort, that I've been teaching in 9 years. The people that built it, Vidya and Rob, 2 wonderful people who bought the 21-acre gated community that I built my home on, or actually they built my home, and we're going to build a little resort spa up there. And I'm hoping Tom Myers, he's talking about buying one of the lots next to me, and I'm hoping he and Quan end up being my neighbors on that property, where we can teach on our on our own little beautiful plateau with a 360-degree view of the mountain, the ocean in two different directions. So yeah, it's going to be a wonderful place to bring people over there and teach. But as far as travel, I've been traveling all my life, been all over the world playing music, and travel just isn't as much fun to me as it used to be. I love the people and I love the workshops once we get set up and everything's going, but I'm cutting that out.
Okay. we'll all miss you though, so we'll have to go to Costa Rica then. So
that's the whole idea. I'm actually lying about retiring. I do the Phil Collins thing every year. My first farewell tour, my second farewell tour. Then I just saw on Facebook that this is his last tour. He's never doing it anymore because he's got a bad disc from slumping over the drums. And then I read somewhere else that no, he's already booked all next year completely. So maybe I'm a liar, but I doubt it.
Yeah. and how did
Terry, go ahead.
And how did the actual workshop start in Costa Rica then? What was there some kind of bright idea or what happened?
Yeah, a gal just called me one day out of the blue and said, "Do you want to go teach in a yoga resort in Costa Rica?" And I go, "Oh, I don't know about that." But anyway, it turned out to be just a beautiful spot. And I've taken from the beginning. I taught it the first couple of years myself. Then I took James Wozlowski over. Actually, he taught three times with me, and then I took David Kent in there somewhere, and Tom Myers and the legendary Aaron Mattis. We all co-taught there together. I brought them all over because I wasn't able to go to workshops anymore, and that's what I really love to do more than teach is to learn. I'm a workshop junkie. I love to learn, and that's what I was missing. And so I figured by bringing these wonderful educators over, I could steal their crap and call it mine when they weren't around. That's the whole idea. That's how it works. You don't give them credit unless either if they're teaching assistants are in the room, then you have to give them credit.
Okay. and then with Costa, have you tried other exotic places like that then too, hosting workshops, or has it just always been Costa Rica?
I've done some other places, but I'm in love with Costa Rica. I mean, I fell in love with it the second year I started looking for property in Costa Rica, and I looked every year until I think we've owned this property now for 4 years, and it's where I want to live my life out. I want to live back we're building a healthy anti-aging community. We still have some lots available over there. It's beyond belief over there. We're in the mountains, but we have two spectacular views in the distance of the Pacific Ocean, and it's just a land of where people like us. Americans.
Yeah. So everybody speaks English over there pretty good, or?
No, not enough. Yeah, and they try. I try, they try. But the main thing is that it's you can go into any of the areas. We're close to an area called Escazú, where Intel and Hewlett Packard are. So it's got a lot of upscale stuff there, and shopping is easy, and people all speak English there. You got an IMAX and all the luxuries of home. Then I go out to my place and I look to the ocean. I can't see any lights. I mean, it's dark. It's like my own property all the way to the ocean in each direction, to the west and to the south. So it's spectacular, and I'm just hoping to get some other really good people who are interested in anti-aging to come over and join that community.
And then somebody in the chat asked, how does your approach compare to naturopathy?
Well, my background, while I was working my way through school, I was working with Health Institute of San Diego teaching nutrition, and that's what was one of my first loves. And as far as naturopathy, I don't know if I would call myself a naturopath, but I've been into to nutrition, and I understand a lot about healthy living. Fire alarm! That's you, Barb. Yeah, call 721-7666. Okay. I'm such a popular guy. So anyway, yeah, that's how that happened. Whatever we were talking about.
Okay.
Adult moment.
Yep.
Let's talk about technique.
Okay.
And people can have questions. So if you guys have any questions about anything, it's springtime, except in Minneapolis. Sorry, I had to jab you a little bit.
Yep.
There. You got such a great website and you're making all that damn money, so I had to give you a jab there about the weather in Minneapolis. Anyway, it's springtime in most of the country, and so we're seeing a lot of different kinds of injuries. We're seeing a lot of rotator cuff problems from the golfers. We're seeing a lot of low back pain problems from the people gardening, and we're seeing a lot of just all the general stuff. And one of the reasons that we're coming from a flexion addicted couch potato winter, at least here in Oklahoma, where it's real cold and people get into their sedentary lifestyle like I do, sitting at the computer all day long, and then they lack their motor programming starts to change, and then they get up and start doing things they haven't done before, and their brain does not know those, doesn't remember. It reprograms those motor patterns, and then they go to the health club a couple of times a week, and their trainer gets them on bench pressing, doing bench presses against a pad. And of course, the body does not think in terms of muscles; it thinks in terms of movement. And so, when you're putting yourself against a pad doing a bench press, that's a motion that your motor control center learns. Your brain maps that. Your neural matrix maps that motion. And then when you start to do another motion similar to it, like you're opening a door to push a door open, the brain will all of a sudden try to do that pattern. It's confusing. It does not understand it because you can't. Basically, that's what the functional movement training thing is about. You train movement, not muscles. And that's what's getting people in trouble. So one of my clients here stayed over where I could demonstrate a rotator cuff problem that he was having. Can he get in here? Do you think we can get him in here? Sherry?
Yes, honey.
Let me get this guy in here.
Aww.
Yes. Okay, this is Brody, and he has a rotator cuff problem that we've been working on today. Brody, can you say hi to Ryan? And so we're been trying to work this. Brody, you're not interested in this? He said, I don't like this joke. I said, I don't know what's going on here, Daddy. Anyway, he's my boss. He's my boss man. Anyway, these injuries. I've got a new newsletter coming out tomorrow. If you guys aren't signed up to my monthly Technique newsletter, I've got a newsletter on rotator cuff shoulder injuries. You got a tennis serve, which I'm doing a lot of tennis players already, and the ground force coming from the ground through the kinetic chain, and if you've got kinks in that kinetic chain anywhere in the low back or wherever, the force starts to come up through the legs, up through the fascial system, through the torso, and into the shoulder. And the shoulder rotator cuff is the weakest of the links. It has the less power, and so it has to work as a force regulator to control that motion. That motion shouldn't be coming from the shoulder. It shouldn't be isolated in the shoulder, the glenohumeral joint. And that's why we're getting a lot of shoulder injuries in our athletes. So you've got to correct it all the way through the kinetic chain. And one of the people who's really doing a good job on that, besides Tom Myers, who has that his new book out that has some techniques for treating the fascial, actually treating them, not just as anatomy trains, but treating the fascial system, is Robert Schleid. He's got a new chapter in my new book that I'm going to plug here in a second, called Fascial Fitness. And I think he and Tom Myers are both working on some workshops together for fascial fitness. So I highly recommend you guys doing that. Can I plug my book?
Yeah, I'd love it.
We mocked up a copy. Barb mocked up a copy of this book. I've been working on it for a year, and of course I'm 6 months late getting it out. But we're getting close, and I've got some contributors here that I want to. Can you see this book?
Yep, perfect.
Okay.
Yep.
Dynamic body, exploring form, expanding function.
Yep.
We've got Judith Aston, the famed Judith Aston, Serge Grakovetsky, Philip Greenman, Michigan State, Dr. Robert Irvin, Gil Headley, great Gil, Jerry Hesch, the Spring King man, Kai Hodik, who works with Schleip, and a guy named Ajo Zorn over in the Ulm University, and they're researchers, fascial researchers. Craig Liebenson, everybody knows who Craig Liebenson is, rehabilitation of the spine, chiropractic, LA Chiropractic Center. Till Luca, who's a Rolfer and excellent advancedtrainings.com guy. Aaron Mattes, everybody knows legendary Aaron Mattes. Aline Newton, wonderful, wonderful author. Art Riggs, and Robert Schleip has 2 chapters in the book, and Ajo Zorn has a wonderful study, has some research on fascia shot in Uganda. Is that a word? Uganda? Went over it with cameras and watched the women that carry the baskets on top of their head, and filmed them laid in the brush for a few months and filmed these people and studied their movement patterns. So I'm introducing all those new chapters to some of that new research in that book. So I'm really excited about it.
With all those names, I mean, that book should cost $300 to $400, right?
It costs me $300 to $400. Projects you go, I don't know. It's like the python swallowing the antelope. It's like everywhere it moves through. It's like it's like never going to digest. But I think we're going to finally get that thing out, and when we do, it's going to be a lot of fun. Some of my teaching assistants are going to are also in there. Paul Kelly, Nick Kress, and Danny Christie are going to assist me in showing some functional movement work that combines with musculoskeletal alignment. And I think the book is going to be a lot of fun. I think everybody will enjoy it. I'll be glad to get it out and where I can start to relax a little bit.
Yeah. And with all those great names, is there any things that you guys cannot agree on at all?
That is a very good question. Matter of fact, I wrote about that in my introduction, that most, you put 2 research, this old chiropractor once told me, he says, Eric, there's only one thing. He says, there's one thing. He says, you can take 2 researchers or 2 clinicians and put them together. And the only thing that they'll agree on is that the 3rd clinician's got it wrong. But everybody usually thinks the other person's got it wrong, but not in this group. This group is pretty homogenous. Now, I do have a chapter with Dr. Philip Greenman, who his Principles of Manual Medicine. He wrote Sacroiliac Function in Walking, and Jerry Hesch has got a 2-minute SI joint routine in here that's spectacular that he's putting in there. But it defies some of the muscle energy stuff that I was raised on, that I love so much. The backward sacral torsion thing he doesn't like. Unilateral flex sacrums he doesn't believe in. And he gives a pretty good, hearty debate against Philip Greenman and Fred Mitchell Sr.'s model. So we'll see.
Okay. And so is there any injuries that you usually have better luck with your style?
I think the better question would be: are there injuries that I don't have luck with? Because I have luck. I have pretty good luck with everything over time. It's just a funny thing. Experience. You can't teach experience, and it's just 31 years cranking it out, full-time practice. Things just come to you when the person's in front of you. That's why tests are really it's hard to evaluate and get evidence based on therapy, because it's such an individual experience. And a great resource for that, if you guys get a chance to pick up the brand new April issue of Leon Chato's Journal of Bodywork and Movement Therapy, there's a critique of E.L. Lederman's model where he bashes structural work, postural work, biomechanical work, movement, and everything. And there are 5 authors that contribute to this debate, and it is brutal but beautiful. It's some of the Diane Lee and Stuart McGill from from Canada, and one of my friend Robert Irvin, who wrote my book. He's one of them, and there's just some really good, interesting points that support the massage therapy, body work, and why it's so hard to test the results. Basically, that's what I got out of it: is why it's such a hard thing to really get evidence based on something that is personal. It's a different person in front of you each time. You can break them up into subgroups, and it's easier. You might come across. You might be able to get it together to get to some kind of better results. The research is getting better when you break, for instance, low back pain up into subgroups of, say, sciatica or, certain kinds of pathologies. But overall, it's impossible to study it just putting a group of people with low back pain in front of a group of therapists and expecting intra-operator reliability. It ain't going to happen. It ain't never going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's stupid. It's crazy to think that.
And are you going to be planning on doing any more books in the near future then too?
I don't think my wife is listening to this thing. So I am going to say that I have a volume 3 DVD set that I've had out for a while, Shoulder, Arm, and Hand, and I really want to write a book for that. So and it'll be an easy book. It'll be easy compared to this to go with that. So it'll be a home study course, which it was always designed to be a home study course. I have 2 home study courses plus a home study ethics course that have been very popular for me and very helpful for my career. And but I want to do 2 more, and then that's it for me. 2 more home study courses, and I've already got the DVDs done for them. I got a 6 DVD set that I'm going to be using a book for, and then I'm going to write one more book. And then I'm just going to write articles and just stuff. I've got so much stuff in the can that I've written over the years that I'm going to dig all that stuff out and see if there's any of it that's still interesting or any of it still applies. Science changes so quickly. A lot of it is meaningless now, but.
Yeah, and my opinion is I don't think Tom Myers should actually live by you because he's going to be a bad influence because you guys are going to keep working all the time.
I'm proud of him. He calls me Big Bro, and I call him Little Bro because I'm 4 years older than him. But I don't know how he does it. We were just talking on the phone the other day, and he's still got a hectic travel schedule. But his career, his anatomy trains thing, just burst loose at just the right time. It was such perfect timing with the fascial research that was going on, and the fact that he's such an eloquent speaker and clinician too. That he was able to affect the movement groups as they came in, the functional movement groups. He fit right into the Pilates, yoga, all the functional movement training things. So he now has what all body workers, educators try to do. They want to reach the broadest audience possible. My audience is much more limited than Tom. So he gets to do what I actually would like to do too. And he's tried to encourage me to go do this and just travel and do a 2-hour presentations where you just get to talk, just to get up there and talk about stuff that interests you, because that's what's fun for me. Interaction with the crowd, talking about stuff that's interesting. The assessments and techniques are interesting and they're fun, but it's more fun to talk about what's hot at that minute for you, and that's what Tom gets to do. And I'm really proud of the guy for what he's accomplished and how his career is going real fast right now, and he's still traveling a whole lot. Just getting back from Australia right now, and but I'm not going to be doing that.
Okay, do you promise?
I do promise on that. I do promise. I'm not going to be doing a lot of those world tours, and not like Tom.
Are you planning on doing any conventions or conferences at all in the near future?
I may do that. I may do that. Conferences can be fun. There's some new ones that are out there now that are really, really interesting, and so yeah, I might try that. I've done so many AMTA conventions over the years. Starting in 1999, I did the Texas, the AMTA National Convention, and San Antonio, and I think I've done 6 of them or 7 since then. And I'm just I like a controlled environment where everything is set up perfectly. I get to have my dual screens. I get to have perfect sound. I like everything to be just like you were doing a music presentation. It's a show. I want it to be where people, it's very visual. I don't, people now that are getting on your website, the 3,000 or 4,000 people a day that are visiting your website. There's a lot of action going on, and people have short attention spans. They want to be entertained. They want to be entertained now. And so part of education is not just sitting down and doing critical thinking. Part of the education is entertaining. You've got to keep people busy. You've got to keep them visually busy. You've got to keep their minds busy. And then you've got to have what it takes. You've got to, if you don't have the experience, if you don't have it in your own hands, if you can't demonstrate it, if you can't show the people that you can do the work, then they're not going to be that interested. They're not going to come back for more workshops. You've got to be able to produce and as well as, have the good information. And there are a lot of good educators out there right now. There are a lot of really, really good educators on local levels that are teaching locally. And I run into a whole bunch of people in my workshops that are superior therapists.
And videos just seem to be the wave of the future too. So many, even your YouTube channel is doing good too and stuff. That's getting out to the average public too. It's what's nice about it. And
yeah, that YouTube is amazing, isn't it? It's just wonderful. I love posting things there because we used to have 85% of our books and videos were sold in the United States. Now 40% of our books and videos are sold worldwide. Wow. And almost a big percentage of it comes from YouTube.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing. I can't even tell you. They don't want to buy it. They don't really want to pay all that shipping, or it's not that much shipping now. But they don't want to do it unless they really get a chance to see what they're getting. And I don't blame them. If I'm ordering something, I've got one of the world's largest collection of DVDs, and I've been collecting them for years, and I love them. Every morning I put one on while I'm doing my rowing machine and pick up something that something I may have watched 15, 20, 30 times. I pick up some new little thing that sparks me in my sessions that day. And YouTube does that for them. It gives them enough. It gives them a taste. They go, okay, this is what I like. This guy can produce. This is something that blends with the work I'm doing. That doesn't mean it blends with everybody. And that's the good part. They can go to Art Riggs or you or a dozen other people and go, this is more like what I want to do. But it gives the therapist a chance to show what they do and to see if there are any matches out there. That's it. Match.com.
Yep.
YouTube. Good idea.
Why do you think a lot of therapists have not latched on to actually producing videos though?
I know in my case, it's extremely expensive to do them right. You can do videos, and today I don't know how important it is, whether people really care if your videos are produced with the kind of 3-camera shoots and a year in the studio that I spend on mine. I spend $25,000 on just human dissection anatomy.
Wow.
And then I spent my last set of videos were $180,000 by the time I spent a year in the studio, 6 DVD set. And but that was with a bunch of computer animation from Primal. I bought a bunch from Primal. I had a bunch created for me. And then just sitting in the studio goofing off at $150 an hour, going, hey, boy, this is a lot of fun. Then you get the bill. You start shaking and you go, oh, God, the wife can't see this. Still pay those videos.
Yeah. And what's nice about YouTube, just the average person can actually get up there too and post things. So it's everybody.
People don't care about the quality, really. The quality is good. I love quality just because I was in the music business and I love sound. I love to get everything I'm visual. I like to have it be really, really entertaining. But that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's a crappy video. Some of my very favorite videos that I've watched for years are in other countries, done back with Yonda, some of Yonda's people, and I turn the sound down because some of the language, I'm really getting confused. I can't even speak Spanish, and I'm trying to understand the Czechoslovakian language. Yes, it is. Czech Republic, I don't know. Anyway, so I turn the sound down because all I really need, as you get to a certain point in your career as a hands-on therapist, you don't really have to hear what they're saying. You know what they're doing. You watch their hands, you watch their body language, you watch what they're doing. You don't have to know what they're saying. And that's what I love, is just visually seeing what these geniuses that have been spending just, 30, 40 years, the Ida Roth, the Nimmo, the A.T. Stills, the Sutherlands, the Philip Greenmans, the Aaron Mattis, those people, that just, it's magic. It looks like magic. It's effortless to them. It's all effortless, but we know it's not effortless, and we know it's not magic. It comes from just years and years of doing it over and over till your motor programming system in your own body has learned the little bitty nuances of every single little technique maneuver you're doing. That's magic.
Yep. And then, so you're a collector of like contemporary and rare manual therapy DVDs and everything. And
I like a lot of new stuff, a whole bunch of new stuff. Yeah, I do. I like a lot of things that I'll see something on YouTube that I like, and I'll order it. I like a lot of functional movement stuff too. There's a great 13 DVD set by Weingroff, Charlie Weingroff. You might get on his website, and he sends out a lot of real good newsletters. Gary Gray, like Gary Gray, and of course Gray Cook. They've got wonderful websites, and then there's some new people coming up. Keats Snyderman, I can't pronounce the last name. Coach Keats out of Phoenix, and Carson, and Patrick Ward, and some of those guys. Man, they are really, really hot young guys who are just the passion. You just see and hear the passion in their on their blogs and in their presentations, and they're doing some videos that I'm really, really enjoying, and I just love to see the young people coming up and picking up the slack and expanding what a lot of us have laid down. And of course, thousands of people before me are standing on the shoulders of our manual therapy forefathers. That everybody, hardly anything really new in the world of manual therapy or anything else, but there is just so many things that can be done just a little bit differently to make it worthwhile and unique. So there are great people out there right now, great young people, and that's what makes me happiest, particularly when I see them in my own workshops.
Where do you think manual therapists are going to be in the near future then? Where do you think they're going to, are they going to kind of stay what they're going out now, or do you think they're going to go into more like the physical therapy, like the stretching and things? Or
well, Whitney Lowe and James Waslowski are both combining that orthopedic massage certification, which I think is a very, very great idea. Whitney, of course, we all love Whitney, and he's such a just to the point guy, and his orthopedic stuff is just so refined after all these years that is going to grow, and his e-learning is going to be a very big thing. He's on the ground floor of all the e-learning things, so you'll be able to sit at your computer and learn so much from his programs. I see a lot of that in the future. But what I'm seeing a lot of is, that I'm liking the most, is the integration of functional movement, the strengthening, being able to have a test. We've really never had a functional baseline test that we can put people through to retest them to see how they're improving. How do you know if they're getting any better if you don't have some kind of baseline test you can put them through? Now you can do it with flexibility when, creating extensibility in tissues like we do as manual therapists, and that's a good thing. But sometimes, you don't want to overstretch people. Stretching can be bad. Muscle energy, deep tissue work. You got to watch. Why work on muscle spasm that's supposed to be there when the brain senses weakness? It's got a map of the area. It's got a neural matrix of that area. If it senses weakness in there, if there's joint dysfunction, if there's ligamentous damage, the brain will send protective muscle guarding there. And do you want to get an elbow in there and dig that out? No. Sometimes you don't, and it's good to know that. Sometimes you need strengthening. Low back is usually craves stability. We thought for many, many years through yoga and everything that it craved mobility. But it really doesn't. We have to have a stable platform for the extremities to functionally work correctly off of. It has to go up through a very, very complex kinetic chain, starting at the ground reaction force, going up through, and it's many people have it mapped differently. Tom Myers maps it a little bit differently than Serge Grakovetsky and Vleming and some of those people. But no matter how you map it, we all know that it exists, and we all know that we have to get the kinks out of the kinetic chain to have a perfectly functioning body. And that's the goal of manual therapy: pain-free movement during the walking cycle. What we're designed to do is walk. We're designed to move. Like Moshe Feldenkrais said, they asked him, what is the most common cause, all of your years of experience, what's the most common cause of chronic pain? His answer, lack of variety of movement patterns.
Oh.
They go, oh, okay. But that is lack of variety of movement patterns. We don't move. We don't move like our ancestors did. We don't gather food and climb trees and, do things like that anymore like we should. And we do when we're kids, but then we start thinking that, boy, we need to be adults. And once they stick us in school and we're starting to sit at desks in a flexed position, that starts to become the end of our normal motor movement patterns. Our movement patterns start to become altered. And now they're sticking kids in school, preschool, preschool. As soon as they can get them out of the house, they want to get them in school somewhere and sitting somewhere. Well, that's unnatural. That's I would have been ADD on lithium because I used to crawl out the windows and play in the yard. I said, something's wrong with this. I want to be out there playing in the schoolyard. I don't want to be sitting in here. And it is unnatural. That's why we're pumping our kids up with drugs, because we're trying to make them do unnatural things.
In my daughter, just recently, they introduced these bouncy chairs. So these exercise balls, they're actually sitting on it now. So,
It's a great idea. And also they're doing a lot of standing, moving, education with movement. While they're moving, let the kids move around, let them lay around on the floor, do different things, stretch, do different things. That's going to help the brain. They found there's a great YouTube thing on, I can't remember who did it, 24 minutes of this neuroscience scientist talking about fun. We thought that when we're kids, we think, God, what are our parents watching the news for? What is that all about? Why are they doing? Why aren't they having fun? Don't they know how to play? Why aren't they playing? And we go, we think the kids, kids are want to, bitch slap them or something. But instead, we realized that life is we're still supposed to play. Life's supposed to be play. And we now are finding through functional MRI of the brain that when we play, when we learn, when we go in, and I'm trying to work on this book, and I'm going, oh God, I have to go in and sit at that computer and work on this book. That's not play. And if you can't make it play, it only lights up a certain portion of your brain, your thalamus, a little bit of your reticular formations, but nothing really happens. It doesn't light up the whole brain. If you watch it on functional MRI, when they're at play, the whole brain lights up. So it's working. It integrates that material. It learns it better. It's a whole body learning. It's a whole brain learning. And the end result is just a much, much more well-designed human being overall, holistic.
Okay. And then also with posture evaluation, why do you think a lot of therapists don't really incorporate that into their practice? A lot of the research, a lot of science is beating up on the postural model. I still love the postural model because to me it makes absolutely perfect sense that
when NBA players, if posture didn't matter, we'd see NBA players with horrible posture. We do not see horrible posture. We don't see valgus knees. We rarely see internally rotated femurs. We rarely see forward head postures. Sometimes we do on some of the bulkier guys who overdo it in the gym or doing the sitting against the pads, doing the pads. But I just think posture. I love working from a structural model still. The structural biomechanical postural model. Give it to me any day, because I love one thing. Clients never leave my office unless at least their iliosacral joints are balanced. How the ilium and the sacrum come together. Sometimes that's leg leak. Sometimes that's the hyperpronation syndrome. You've got to start working on the pronation problems. And there's a lot of common patterns that I found. I like to look for patterns when I'm looking at bodies, because a lot of people who are motor dominant, right motor dominant, are going to have the same type patterns. They're going to stand on their vestibularly dominant, their balance dominant left leg, so that they can kick with the right dominant motor leg. You can't expect the left and right legs to be symmetrical. You can't expect the right arm that's going to be throwing the ball to be symmetrical. But you can work toward ambidexterity, which does not really exist. There's no such thing as ambidexterity. Neuroscientists are now telling us. But Gray Cook and them work toward more balanced dexterity. But the postural model, I do believe that that when you're tugging on the dural membrane from a forward head posture, day in and day out, you're creating havoc in the brain. The OA joint does not like to be in a hyperextended position, crushing the posterior occipital membranes, the cranial nerves, and the vascular structures underneath that. It just doesn't like it. You can talk science to me all day long. You can talk evidence-based. We have no evidence to prove the posture has any delirious effect. No, people don't have any more incidents of neck pain with poor posture. Baloney. Not buying off on it.
Okay. And then, do you ever do pictures of people's posture then too?
Yeah, I did that. Well, that's what we did in Rolfing school. So I started out doing on pictures. We used to have before session 1, after session 1, before session 5, after session 5, I believe it was, or maybe it was 3 and 5, and then before and after session 10. And then in the advanced Rolfing, once you go back and do your 300 hours of advanced Rolfing training, you do postural work. You do photographs after the 5 session. And I've got a stack, a ton of Polaroids I took back in the first 10 years that I did Rolfing. And I love Rolfing still. I love the Rolfing model, but I haven't really done. I got interested in pain management and the biomechanical, the osteopathic stuff. So I kind of got away from strictly the Rolfing model, but it's wonderful. And, I still think the great Rolfers out there, like my friend Jim Asher and some of the old time Rolfers are some of the best. That's the best body work I've ever had. And I've had lots of different kinds of body work, but the Jan Sultans and all of the old guys that were first generation after Ida Rolf, that's some of the very best work I've ever had still.
Okay. And then where in Costa Rica is your house?
How what?
Where in Costa Rica are you located?
It's I'm about 45 minutes, 50 minutes from the airport. So the oldest highway leading from San Jose Airport to the beach, the property's right on there. We got a peninsula, 21-acre peninsula with a 7-acre rainforest where we hike down, do our hikes and everything, and a little preserve for the monkeys and the parrots that we're developing, and we're growing all of our own mangoes, papayas, pineapples, bananas, coffee, all kinds of stuff there. We're in the mountains. We're on the other side of the mountains facing the ocean. It's 30 minutes from the closest, 30 miles to the closest ocean, but you can see Manuel Antonio, a wonderful resort area from my house, and you can also see the Bay of Nicoya to the west, which is where the oldest people in the world live, according to National Geographic. They have more octogenarians than any place in the world in Bay of Nicoya. So, yeah, Costa Rica is just a fabulous, fabulous country with wonderful people.
And you have an open house party all the time then, too? Or?
Yeah, we're having an open house party. I've been telling people that that are coming to this workshop in April that our one day off for excursions is on Wednesday. That's a full day of excursions. That's when we do the whitewater rafting and the beach deal and the new zip lining and volcanoes and whatever all you want to do. But think I'm going to take a couple of truckloads of people to my house for a housewarming party on Wednesday, the 4th of May. We'll see how that goes.
And is that considered more the off season then that you schedule the workshops then?
After Easter, it's considered off season. So yes, I like to book it. I like to book mine right after the season ends because prices go down. So flights are much less. Everything is much less, and you just get much more attention. And of course, we book the whole 13-acre resort to ourselves. Nobody gets to use that resort while we're there. We have all these wonderful therapists that just treat us like kings, and every kind of therapy you can imagine they offer there. So it's a time of not only learning. You got, it's 24-hour learning. The room, all the rooms that we teach in, the rooms are always open, and people run in, get a hot tub, and they'll come out of the hot tub and come in and work on each other, or watch people work. So it's not just like 30 hours of education. It's a full week of a continuous education. Even when we're out whitewater rafting and stuff, going there and back, people are talking shop and stuff like that, So it's when you're bound up together like that for a week, I found that the learning experience accelerates exponentially. Particularly when Tom Myers and Wazlowski and me and Kent and Aaron Mattis went over there. Man, it was quite an experience, man. I mean, the energy was through the roof because the participants, everybody was just right on, and just being thrown together in a group like that and being pampered like that with 3 organic meals a day and all that wonderful stuff, and then not have to leave. You don't separate. You're there all the time talking and working on each other. It's a wonderful experience.
Do you plan on having like Wasalski and stuff there again then? Any other names?
I'm never having him there again.
Okay.
That guy, no, he's one of my good buddies. And we talk on the phone. I just talked to him this morning. Usually call him when I'm out walking the dogs in the morning, and he teaches all the time. So I try to catch him when he's trying, catch him in the morning of the days that he's teaching, so it can blow his day that day, get him up too early. I'll call him early. Are you up yet? What kind of educator are you? Get ready for this workshop. It's 5 o'clock, man. Guy. I love all of the educators that are in this industry. They're just such a big boatload of wonderful, wonderful people in this industry that in the early days when we were doing all the conventions, we all got to really know each other and hang out, and you get rid of all that stuff where you're worried about somebody knowing something that you don't know and all that. Once all those boundaries get dropped and you just start appreciating everybody for what they are, that's what really makes the touch therapy industry superior to everything else,
Yep. And then I heard you're giving some kind of a discount tonight?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
It's the massage nerd discount.
Okay.
We're so, I want to give you a hand for all you've done for this community. I know the new Massage Today blog thing is really going to work out great for you, and you've done this industry a great service, and I really want to thank you for how quickly you have been able to encapsulate, just like you're doing tonight, with so many people, bring people together. You're kind of person that brings people together, so I want to thank you for that. But anyway, back to the discount, the Massage Nerd discount. It's 10% discount on all of my products. You just enter the code on my website, Erik, ERIK Dalton.com, erikdalton.com, and you just enter the code capital ERIK without a space between it, 2010. Erik Dalton, just Erik, ERIK, capital ERIK, without a space, 2010. Get 10% off all the stuff, but we've also got a bunch of specials running right now anyway. So it's 10% off the special prices, the discounted prices that are already on there. And that's going to last till the end of this week. We'll take that off at, not the end of this week, the end of this month, the end of March. So we got a couple weeks on that discount. So all you people, I appreciate you guys listening to this. And so, yeah, get in there and save some money.
Okay, great. And is there any other things that we have not covered?
No, I think we've even gone over our hour, haven't we?
Yeah. And then your newsletter too. So make sure people sign up.
Yes, while you're on the website. Yeah. Well, sign up for the Technique newsletter, my monthly Erik Dalton Technique newsletter. I've got the new one that we're shipping out tomorrow. Is called Shoulder Pain, Fixing Shoulder Pain. And it's got a couple of videos attached to it with some techniques for dealing with rotator cuff and some joint mobilization things that I always use first in my practice. So, we send out some good newsletters. We spend a lot of time on them. And also join me on Facebook, my regular Facebook, particularly my Erik Dalton Myoskeletal Therapy Facebook. And check out my workshop schedule on takemyregistration.com. It's also on my website, but takemyregistration.com has all of the information on all my workshops that I'm doing this year. So try to catch a workshop this year. If not, you'll want to catch all of Paul Kelly's workshops coming up. He's doing 6 or 8 this year. So be sure and try to catch a myoskeletal workshop. And I'd like to see you before I adios it out of here.
Yep. So remember everybody that 3 more times the rest of the year and then you're done in the United States kind of?
Yeah, 3 more USA workshops, and I hope that's it for me.
Okay, cool. So again, just make sure you see Erik Dalton before then. Otherwise, Costa Rica is an awesome place, and so many people are starting to incorporate the workshops out there, and it sounds like a beautiful place. I've never been there, and I want to get there soon, but yeah.
Let me know. I'll help you get over there.
Okay, thanks. Well, thank you very much tonight, Erik. We really appreciated it and got so much information, and my head's exploding right now. So
mine is too, but I think it's just because I got to go to the bathroom.
Okay.
Throw that in. That's what happens when you get to be 67 years old, dude. Anyway.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, Erik.
Okay.